God is good all the time. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Tuesday afternoon Bible study. So good to see you. If you are joining us online, we just pray a blessing for you wherever you may be, whatever day you are watching this. Well, let's open with prayer. Heavenly God, it is hot outside, but it's cool in here. But help us to have warm hearts, warm hands, good hugs, good food, good discussion, good study. For all those that we lifted up to you, we pray we just pray that you drape us with comfort, with peace, and with love. And for those who are traveling, keep them safe until we see each other again. May this be a time of blessing for us. Amen. So friends, we are in Matthew chapter 10. If you don't know where that's at, it's after Matthew 9, before Matthew 11 in your Bibles. This is all the other times in Matthew that we've read so far, Jesus is doing things. There's a story, there's a healing, there's Jesus went here and did this, and Jesus goes over here and does that. This is the first time that we get a whole chapter of him just talking. Now, we had the Sermon on the Mount. That's a little different. That was kind of preaching and teaching lessons for us. But this is more for the disciples. The whole chapter is just kind of a pep talk to the team. You might remember Matthew chapter 9 ended with the workers are few. Pray that the Lord of the harvest sends out the workers into the field. Well, friends, he's going to send out the disciples out into the field and preach. So this is their first time doing this on their own without Jesus hanging around. So this is it's the pep talk, but it gets kind of like you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You're going to discover the world's not going to like you as much than you think you are. So it's a pep talk, but it sets the tone for expectations. So this is Matthew chapter 10. There's a lot to get to. You'll notice 2 pages, front and back here. So let's do verses 1 through 4. And Diana is back. Thank you, Miss Diana.
Jesus sends out the 12. Jesus called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority to drive out impure spirits and to heal every disease and sickness. These are the names of the 12 apostles. First, Simon, who is called Peter, and his brother Andrew, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew, the tax collector, James, son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him.
The 12 disciples. The main feature of this list is a little bit of diversity, although they're all men here. That's Bible times, right? Jesus chose his disciples from a variety of backgrounds, a variety of life experiences. He asked some old people. He asked some young people. Like I talked about, we had James the Great and James the Less. Old James, young James is in there. But all they had in common was that it seemed that none of them came from a super privileged class or backgrounds of high status. Matthew might have been the most privileged out of them as a tax collector. He gave them power over unclean spirits to cast them out. Jesus did not only call the 12, he also gave them power to do what he had called them to do. There's an old line: God does not call the equipped, but he equips the called. Does that make sense? Lord, I don't have what you need. God says, I know. I'll give it to you when you go out and do it. Moses had the same thing. You want me to go talk to Pharaoh? I have a speech impediment. I don't talk real good. And God said, I know. Go before Pharaoh anywhere, and I'll tell you what to say. The names of the 12. These 12 have an important place in God's plan for redemption. You could argue if Judas is in that list or not, but without Judas, we would not have got the cross. Some founded churches across the world. If we get to Acts again, we'll go into that. This is the only. Hold on. In the first line, what do you call them? The 12 Disciples. In verse 2, he didn't call them disciples. Apostle. What's the difference between a disciple and an apostle? We're all disciples. Yep. If you follow Christ, you are a disciple. Yep. Apostle is someone with a job, someone sent out to do something. Someone who goes after something. Okay. Apostle, post. Notice the word post in there. It's where we get the word post office, postage. It goes forth to do stuff. That's why we call it post. Or it comes after. If something is post, it's after, right? Postscript. I forgot to write this down, so it's after everything I wrote down. It always surprises me. Back in the day, you used to get PS, postscript, right? I forgot to say this. I still get, every now and then I get a PS in a letter, and it was typed on the computer. They could have just gone back up and put it in there. So anyway, I don't know why there's PS still nowadays, the way we write letters. But that's post. So, apostle, someone who goes out and does stuff. They are specially called. Could be as a messenger, referring to one who is sent. Different places in the Bible they use that word. John 13, Hebrews 3. Paul, even though he's not one of the original 12 disciples, he considers himself an apostle, because afterwards Jesus came to him at the road to Damascus and said, you're going to go to the Gentiles, you're going to preach the word. Every place, let's see, there's 4 different times in the New Testament where we see the 12 listed together. Some of them are different because the names might be different. They might go by different names. Let's see, Matthew has one, Mark has one, Luke, Acts. In these lists, Peter is always listed first. Guess who's always listed last? Judas, yeah. Peter and Andrew are always listed together. James and John always listed there as well. In the list that they were arranged, they suggest they were kind of arranged in 3 different groups of 4, each with kind of their own little small group leader. You'll see them like they might be in different orders in some places, but you always see these 4 together, and these 4 together. We're going to do a sermon series in November on the apostles, where we're going to take a look at this. I don't know how the sermon's going to look yet. I don't know how I'm doing it, but someone asked me a while back, like, I don't know any of the disciples. I could name you a couple. I don't know what they did and why they're important. So in November, we'll do a sermon series where I'm going to tackle them over 4 Sundays, 3 at a time, and I'm going to use the Da Vinci's Last Supper picture where these three. So if you want to learn about the disciples, come to church in November.
I see this every once in a while. What does zealot mean?
So zealot. Simon the Zealot. The Zealots were a political party. I'm trying to think of, it would be kind of like Antifa today, I think. They're a little more on the militant side against the Romans, if you will, or the Proud Boys. I don't know, whichever side you want them to be on. Okay, those who are at the extreme, zealots, they're the ones carrying the knives. Jesus, be a person of peace, and Simon's like, I got my knife. In case I find a Roman, I'm good. And so much so later on, Simon's going to say, we have all these people. Let's take over Jerusalem. Let's kick the Romans out. And Jesus is like, I didn't come here for that. I'm a different kind of leader. Came to save souls, not to usher in the next David, king of Jerusalem. So more of a militant group who wants to overthrow the Romans. They're the good guys, but man, they're the embarrassing good guys. Okay, 2 paragraphs next, 5 through 15, please.
These 12 Jesus sent out with the following instructions. Do not go among the Gentiles or enter any town of the Samaritans. Go rather to the lost sheep of Israel. As you go, proclaim this message. The kingdom of heaven has come near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those who have leprosy, drive out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. Do not get any gold or silver or copper to take with you in your belts. No bag for the journey, or extra shirt, or sandals, or a staff, for the worker is worth his keep. Whatever town or village you enter, search there for some worthy person and stay at their house until you leave. As you enter the home, give it your greeting. If the home is deserving, let your peace rest on it. If not, let your peace return to you. If anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, leave that home or town and shake the dust off your feet. Truly, I tell you, it will be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town.
So Jesus was touring around at this time, the region of Galilee. He was teaching, he was preaching, he was helping people with miraculous power. He was doing all his miracles. And the sending of these 12 was a conscientious expanding of that work. Jesus can't go everywhere. So he sends out the 12. The word that he used in the Greek for sending out is kind of like, it was a soldier term. You all have your marching orders. Go. But don't go to the Galileans, the Gentiles. Don't go to the Samaritans. And the guess is the disciples weren't ready to go into what they would call hostile territory. Stick with the people that you know. Stick with the Jewish people. You're all not ready to head off into the wild lands yet. The Samaritans, they're going to hate your guts anyway, just because you're Jewish. Stick to the towns of Israel. And that was kind of the model of early Christianity, first to the Jews, then to the Gentiles. Even Paul, when Jesus says, you are going to preach to the Gentiles, he would go into a town and he would go to the synagogue first. And he would preach there or try to get people there, and then he would branch out to the Gentiles. Go to the lost sheep of Israel. God's intention was to reach the whole world, but beginning with, the chosen. There was certainly enough work to do among the lost sheep of the house of Israel to keep you busy until we can branch out even bigger. He still called them the house of Israel, even though they had no Jewish state at that time. They were in the land of Judea, a Roman province, but he's hearkening back to the language of, remember when you all had your own country? Remember when you could do your own thing? That's the language that Matthew is trying to bring back here a little bit. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The very first verse, let me see. Repent. So the disciples, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? Well, everything that Jesus taught them so far. Remember that Sermon on the Mount? Go tell them that. I've discovered much of my preaching ministry I have stolen from the people behind me that I have learned from, that I use their mannerisms, their preaching style, a lot of their ideas. I got my own in there, of course, but much of what I do, I begged, steal, and borrowed from other preachers. A lot of people in professions do that, right? Don't teachers sometimes use the models that they had when they were growing up? Yeah. Or whatever job that y'all had to learn somewhere. Journeyman, if you're in construction, if you're in plumbing, you just didn't say, I'm going to become a plumber today. No, you got to go to journeyman, right? Yeah. Let's see. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead. The disciples had the message to preach and the power to display. It does not say if this was you will have these powers as long as you are out there. or if they're a lifelong thing. Power of the Holy Spirit to heal, preach, raise the dead. In the Bible, we only have several instances of people that we know that were raised from the dead. Jairus' daughter is in there. Lazarus is in there. Jesus, of course, is in there. But surely the disciples, if they had that power, they would do that in those towns, and we just don't have recorded efforts for it. Don't take money, gold, silver, or copper. Don't listen to this because your pastor's talking, and your pastor likes his paycheck. Thank you, by the way, for letting me work here. But for these disciples, go and... So if you had to guess, how they're going to get their money, how they're going to get food, free will offerings or what? Faith. There's faith, but there's a little bit of elbow grease behind it too. Yeah. Wherever you're going, get some work done while you're over there. Work in the fields, work on the tents, work on the. Even Paul was a tent maker everywhere he went. And honestly, if you get a job working with people, you get to see some people, and you get to help spread that word. Even though the 12 could expect their needs to be met through the people they served, they should never require payment. Their needs to be met as payment. As you freely have received, freely give. Now, I get paid to be the pastor here, but when I go to the hospital to visit people, do I ask for something for the effort? No. When we do funerals or weddings here, nope. Y'all pay my salary. Someone else on the outside calls and says, "Pastor, will you do my wedding?" Yeah, I'm going to charge $99.95. I'm like a used car salesman. I'll marry anybody for $99.95. But if you're a member here and if you're a part of our church, you pay my salary, and that's what we do.
Later on, Jesus rescinded the take no purse. He said, take a coat, take some money. Towards the end, right after the 12, or the 8, I can't remember the word.
The Last Supper?
The Last Supper, yeah. It's located. It's in Luke. That's where he said that. I don't think Matthew had said that. So he did change that later on when he asked them to go out further than just the Jewish folks.
Yeah. Yep. This is their first foray for get your feet wet. I did read a discrepancy. In here it says, "Don't take a staff." In Mark it says, "Take a staff," like a walking stick. It might be a difference in the verbs. The Matthew version of it says, "Don't go out and get one," but Mark says, "Take the one you already have." But walking sticks are nice, especially walking in the hill country. 20 years ago, my wife and I, we got to climb Mount Fuji in Japan. And as you go up to the beginning of the trail, there's a place where you can buy a walking stick. Like, I don't want to buy a walking stick. It's just a tourist thing. And the guy next to me, "Buy a walking stick." So I bought a walking stick, and it's kind of cool. Every 1,000 feet you go up, there's a dude there who burns something into the walking stick to say that you made it that far just for fun. So at the end, your whole walking stick has stuff. But I'm walking, I'm like, I don't need a walking stick. Mount Fuji, no vegetation. It is rock and volcano. That's all it is. If you if you, in your mind, picture Mount Fuji, there's no trees. It's just rock. On the way down, thank God I had a staff. It is so much easier going down. Going up, fine. Going down, bad. Jesus, in Mark and Matthew, don't take a staff. In Mark, take a staff. Again, I saw commentaries on both trying to explain it away because Jesus would never lie. The Gospels would never lie. So the best description that I heard is Matthew, the way the verb says, don't go out and buy new stuff. Just take what you got. Okay. And the blessing. I forgot to get to the blessing. When you get to a home, give it a blessing. And bless peace upon this house. And if they don't like you, take the blessing back. If people don't want you there, shake the dust off your feet. That's poeticness, but it's not a literal shaking your dust. I did have a pastor friend in another state who had a great church and then went to another church, and the church was not so great, if that makes sense. 90% of all churches are fine. 5% are fantastic. 5%, good. You don't want to be appointed there. Thank you for being in the top 5%. He got appointed to one of the bottom 5%, and on his last Sunday there, he left in his office 2 shoes full of gravel. For yeah, he was a little bitter. A little bitter about the whole idea. Just got to shake the sand off.
Isn't it because, too, if they're going to talk to the Israelites and they shun what they're saying to them, then he's saying, like, if they're not going to listen to you, then there's going to be a bad time coming for them, worse than Sodom and Gomorrah in the Last Judgment. Isn't that kind of why he's saying that, in a way?
I don't know. I think I'd rather be in Sodom and Gomorrah than the fire.
Where they would be if they aren't paying attention.
Both places are bad, but
Exactly. Little difference, maybe.
Yeah. A blessing on a house. I've only been asked once to give a blessing on a house. Pastor, we're moving into a new house. Would you give a blessing? So, of course, we came and gave a blessing. And, Lord, bless the people in this house. May they. It was a nice blessing. And afterwards, the father came and said, "Thank you for the blessing. Now we will have no fire or flood or damage or like." I can't promise that. All right, I can't promise that. But the whole idea of a blessing is like when, if you give blessing for a food, pray for the food. Did anyone ever grow up in a family that prayed for the food? I won't ask you if you do it now, but did you grow up in? All right. Did the food change? You gave a prayer for the food. Did something spiritual happen to the food? No. What spiritually happened? It happened in us. It happened in us. Lord, thank you for the food. We receive the blessing of just the awareness of where this food came from, instead of just shoveling it in our mouth. Like, I got this from the store. It'll always be there. When you give thanks, Lord, you caused this to happen. Thank you. We change. When I give a blessing on a house, the house does not change, but the people inside the house. It's different. I was at I'm spending too much time on this. I was at a wedding rehearsal. Not a rehearsal, a wedding reception. I was at a wedding reception, and these people like to party hardy. And the party was starting to get up there. And the father of the bride said, "Pastor, would you give a blessing for the meal?" Yeah. Everyone got quiet, prayed for gave a blessing on the food as well as the couple, and something changed at the party. Instead of just hedonistic, it was a little bit of the sacred was mixed in, and it had a different feel and a different flavor. Not because of blessing the food or the reception hall or anything like that, but just a blessing on the people. All right, let's get to sheep and wolves, 16 to 20.
I'm sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as doves. Be on your guard. You will be handed over to local councils and be flogged in synagogues. On my account, you will be brought before governors and kings as witnesses to them and to the Gentiles. But when they threaten you, do not worry about what to say or how to say it. At that time you will be given what to say, for it will not be you speaking, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you.
Jesus freely and honestly warned his disciples that they were going to face persecution because they went out without military or police protection. He sent them as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. You've heard that phrase before, right? It's a Bible phrase. Yep. Despite their vulnerable position, Jesus' followers were not to defend themselves with worldly forms of power, but remain harmless as doves. Remaining harmless would keep them from giving in to the temptation of retaliation. I'm talking to you, Simon the Zealot, put the knife away. I come in the name of Christ, and if you don't like it, it's not the message that Jesus wants to give. But you're going to be persecuted in the civic arena. You're going to be persecuted in the religious arena, in the councils and in the synagogues. You could expect opposition from both City Hall and the church, synagogues. You are going to be brought before governors and kings, a remarkable statement because these 12 people thought they had zero power whatsoever in the world. We're just humble fishermen. When are we going to get to be before governors and kings? It's going to happen for a lot of these disciples, especially after the resurrection. They go their own way. A couple are going to make it to India. One's going to make it to China, traditionally, Ethiopia, Germany, all over the place. They're going to go. Don't worry about what to say. This part freaks me out a little. I'm a person who has to have the papers with the words in front of me. I have a hard time speaking off the cuff. Can you believe that? You see me preach on Sunday, I have my little black thing that it's my security blanket. It's what it is. And the words that I write out ahead of time. Every now and then I go off the cuff and I wonder how I'm going to get back to where I'm at, and the people upstairs doing the pictures are like, we have no idea where he's at. There was one season where I tried to go totally off the cuff, where I just kind of had a vague idea. Here's the 3 points I want to get to. And after about a month of trying, someone said, let the Spirit tell you what to say. And I'm like, the Spirit's telling me I should have wrote this out ahead of time. That's what the Spirit's telling me. Some pastors can really, really, really go off. I got to figure out ahead of time. That way I know where I'm ending, and I keep it within 15 minutes. Otherwise, we go long, and y'all get to sit there more for a while. Yeah. Fred. Fred, were you a manuscript preacher, or did you just kind of go off the cuff?
No, I'm kind of like you. I usually have notes. Yeah, I got lost, and even with notes, I got lost. So. Particularly now. In verse 16, it says, "We're sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore, be shrewd as snakes." Just how shrewd are snakes?
Well, if you know your Genesis, that was a pretty shrewd snake.
Yeah, here's the deal. Snakes are carnivores. They got no arms or legs, yet they've got to seize meat.
And they have no vision. They can't see where squat.
Yeah. Got to be pretty shrewd. Yeah.
They sneak up. I'm sure most of you have been surprised by a snake sometime or another. Stephanie, my wife, she was a junior or a senior in high school. She went to Grandma and Grandpa's house where they were doing not quite a family reunion, but aunts and uncles were there. And she was just on the swing underneath the tree. And she looked up, and her uncle was coming at her with an axe. And she just thought, I'm dead. I don't know why this is happening, but I'm dead. And the axe came down about 6 inches above Stephanie's head, and they got the bull snake that was coming down the tree. It's not It's not venomous. Venomous. It's not venom, but enough to thinking of snakes. My kid said, "Dad, is that a poisonous snake?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've never tried to eat it." like know it if it bites you, will it kill you? Like, oh, that's venomous. Venomous means that if it bites you, you die. Poisonous means if you bite it, you die. Okay, so yeah. So if you ask, is that spider poisonous? I don't know. Take a bite, find out. Venomous, that's a different story.
We had snakes in Georgia.
Oh, you got big snakes, cottonmouths.
Lots.
Oh, yeah. Diamond.
We have rattlesnakes in Michigan, and when my son was young, he was out playing, and you remember the long corded phones that were always on the wall in the kitchen?
Yeah.
And my second, Rachel, was 5. She came in and she goes, Mama, there's a snake outside. And we had all these little garter snakes. And I went, oh, that's nice. She came in a couple seconds later and she went, Mama, Wade says to tell you it's going ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. Oh, no. So I ran out with a hoe and chopped it up, fed it to the pigs.
Yep.
And pigs will eat it, by the way.
Yep, they're not poisonous. Venomous, but not poisonous.
Rattlesnake, and it was huge rattlesnake. Had a lot of rattles on it.
All right, we got to move on. 21 to 23, just one little paragraph there.
Brother will betray a brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rebel their parents and have them put to death. You will be hated by everyone because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. When you are persecuted in one place, flee to another. Truly I tell you, you will not finish going through the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes.
Brother will deliver up brother. Jesus knew that in some cases the gospel message would divide family members. And some of the most bitter persecution would take place among families. I think we see a lot of that now in politics. Any of your families, I don't want to know where you stand on stuff, but any of your families have any division in politics where we just can't talk about this? Yeah, a lot of silence. Yep, can't bring it up. My wife has yet to learn this lesson. She and her families are, anyway, they go round and round in love. But then when we're out on vacation, we had to get an Uber driver every now and then, and every time politics came up, I'm like, I just want to be on vacation. I don't want to talk politics. Just let it go. But religion, with the things you don't talk about in public spaces, right? You don't talk politics, you don't talk religion. And those of people of faith said, well, you should be able to talk about faith all the time. I'm like, yeah, but you're going to find out your list of friends will go down. You'll be hated for my name's sake. And at times this has been true. Entire cultures have hated the followers of Jesus. It seems weird that you should hate people who preach a gospel of peace like this. But it's the same paradox that inspired the world to condemn and crucify the only sinless man to ever live. Look at how they're going to treat me, said Jesus. He didn't say it, but look at how they're going to treat me. Think how they're going to treat you. A commitment to endure to the end is required for those who will weather the storms of persecution. And we live in a great country where most of us don't face this kind of persecution every day. Because of my faith, I don't expect the police to show up knocking on my door, like in some countries.
So let me ask a question, please. What is the fine line when we should be talking about religion to strangers as we try to spread the gospel, and when we shouldn't? What's your guidance, your wisdom?
For my own personal, let me backtrack. My greatest fear is when I get to heaven, Jesus is going to call me lukewarm. Like, I'm going to spit you from my mouth because you were neither hot nor cold, but you were wishy-washy. And I like to say I'm not wishy-washy, but I am radically in the middle. I'm passionately in the middle. When do I talk faith? When I believe there's a receptive audience. When people bring it up. Or I might sprinkle so I'm on a plane. Every now and then I have the joy of flying, and sometimes I fly without my family, and so I don't know who I'm sitting next to. And so I sit down and how are you, Mama? Do you ever talk to the people next to you or just chit chat? Yeah. Sometimes people don't want to talk, and you know that. But I sit down and hi, I'm Mike. Well, what do you do? They're like, I'm a pastor. Two things happen. Either they just shut down, like, oh. All right, I'm not. Let me tell you about the Council of Trent in 1150 AD, when not going to happen. Or other times it turns out, oh, really? And then they go off, and I'm like, why did I open my mouth? Because I just want to. Well, that's all right. Let's talk. And that talking about it is fine. When it turns into a counseling session, then it gets a little weird because there's someone else sitting there because I'm in the back. So there's three of us in a row. If there's a receptive audience. When we knock on doors, believe it or not, every now and then our family knocks on doors and we pass out things like about our church. And, oh, thank you. And you get that idea of like, okay, move on. And sometimes you get to, oh, tell me more about. Great. And then I can share a little bit more. For me, it's about, I am always willing to share. But if their door is closed, I'm not going to shove it open. In the olden days, I used to feel a little guilty, like after I'd share a little bit and they did not respond to the church, they didn't respond. I messed up. And then somewhere along the line, I discovered that my job is to share. It's the Spirit's job to open up the door, to open up the heart. All I could do is plant seeds. God's got to grow it.
Someone once said, always share the gospel, and if you need to, use words.
St. Francis of Assisi.
There was another one Revelation 3:20, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone opens the door, I will come in and dine with him and he with me, meaning that Jesus is not going to force his way in, much like you just said.
If someone ever accused you of being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict you?
We've sort of maybe glossed it. To verse 5, Jesus sends out the 12 with these instructions. First of all, don't go to the Samaritans or Gentiles. Rather go to the lost sheep of Israel. As you go, preach this message. The kingdom of heaven is near. Not a list of rules, do's, don'ts, believe this, believe that. Very, very, it's that long. And then the next thing is, heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those who have leprosy.
All right, verses 24 to, 25, just that one little guy.
The student is not above the teacher, nor a servant above his master. It is enough for students to be like their teachers and servants like their masters. If the head of the house has been called Beelzebub, how much more the members of his household?
Jesus, why do you have to make things confusing? All right. Simply put, the disciples should not expect to be treated any better than Jesus was treated. If they called Jesus himself Satan, Beelzebub, how much worse will the disciples of Jesus expect? This is already the second reference in Matthew where Jesus was associated with Satan by his enemies. It seems like it's going to be a frequent slur. It's enough for the disciple to be like the teacher. This is the goal of both the teacher and the servant of Jesus. We simply want to be like our teacher and master, conform to the image of his Son. Not that we're going to be made perfect, But I want to have the love of Jesus. I want to have the generosity of Jesus. I want to have the spirit of Jesus. Now, I don't want to lose Mike somewhere in there, but all those characteristic traits I want to pick up on. I know we're getting closer to time. 26 to 31.
So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the roofs. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows.
His eye is on the sparrow. Do you know that song? End of the day, fear God, don't fear man. If we fear man, then we're in trouble. But man can hurt your body. Like, yeah, it's true. But they can't kill the soul. Be more wary of the one who can kill the soul. Yeah, there was one place earlier in the passage. If you are persecuted in one place, flee to another. Did you catch that line? Yeah, don't seek out martyrdom for the sake of martyrdom. Lord, I can't wait to be a martyr. Don't do that. If it happens, it happens. But don't go seeking for it. Isn't there another Bible passage in there where Jesus says, "Don't worry"? Yeah. Consider the lilies of the field, the birds of the air. Yeah. Same line. Same line of thinking here. Okay, 32 to 38, we're going to take a big bite.
Whoever acknowledges me before others, I will also acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But whoever disowns me before others, I will disown before my Father in heaven. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies will be the members of his own household. Anyone who loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Whoever does not take up their cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it.
That's tough teaching, isn't it? Man, I'm supposed to love Jesus more than my wife. I'm supposed to love Jesus more than my mom. Thank God my mom doesn't watch Bible study. She watches services on Sunday, but not this, so Mom, you're fine. But the whole idea of bringing a sword, what's the job of a sword? Besides kill, like how does it do it? Cut, right? It's cutting. So if a family is living in sin, and you are able to parcel off, cut someone off, and lead them to the light, I always took sword as negative. But a scalpel in the doctor's hand is healing, right? There might be some cutting involved. There might be some stitching involved. But I want that appendix out. Jesus is not looking for trouble just for the sake of trouble, but trying to save as many people as he can, and that's going to cause some family rift. Anyone who loves their... We did Genesis last, right? Right before this one? What's the story in Genesis where God gave Abram a horrible task? Yeah, kill your kid. Horrible passage, right? But at the end of the day, we knew that Abram couldn't do it because this is the kid of the promise. The danger to great is not bad, but the danger to great is just good, if you will. If all of the choices that we had were between right and wrong, we'd always choose right. But choices are usually never that stark. Thou shalt not steal. Well, what if I need to feed my family? Hard choices. Does God want you to hate your family? No. Love your family. But love Jesus. We always got it backwards. We love ourselves, then we love others, and then we love Jesus. We should love Jesus, and then we love others, and then we love yourself. Jesus starts with what letter? J, which stands for yay. You want joy in your life? Jesus, others, yourself. All right. I can't dig into it a whole lot here, but last paragraph. Anyone who welcomes you welcomes me. And anyone who welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet as a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And whoever welcomes a righteous person as a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. To do good for goodness sake. And if anyone even gives a cup of cold water to one of these little ones who are my disciples, truly I tell you that person will certainly not lose their reward. Jesus is sending out. Don't forget about me. Don't get to wherever you're going and I totally forgot about that Jesus guy. And never comes back. You're going out with a purpose, to heal, to cure, to perform miracles, but mostly to preach. The kingdom of God is at hand.